I call the segment Managing Myself, where I share stories of different encounters and experiences that I've had to learn from to really help me to grow. So today's topic is how to say no, or learning when to say no. I don't think that it is a broad brush situation, but I think you just have to know within yourself what works for you and what doesn't work for you. Sometimes the financial gain is not worth the turmoil or the off feeling that you feel, or that off feeling in your gut that it's like, yeah, you make a little money, but is it worth it? You know? So I've had, and very recently as well, I've turned down a number of projects where for me the client was not trying to get the best product possible. The problem started where the client was trying to micromanage everything, and that wasn't necessarily their job. And there was a nitpicking, and it just felt like they were picking out the soul of the project, and I was not feeling it anymore. And that happens. All right. Another case. There's another client that it's another good financial opportunity for revenues, income. And what happens when you're on the fence? Like you see the merit of being a part of the project, but also you see that going down this road is going to be high stress, high intensity. No, high intensity is not the issue. It also has to do with how you feel about the project. So for me, going into this situation, I am leaving myself open for any kind of outcome, especially for repeat clients. You kind of learn how to manage their workflow. A part of my job is to create an ease in that flow, and sometimes it's not as easy as one would think. So how do you say no? You just have to think about what you're working on currently. Do you have time to take that on? Is it something that you can walk away from, and even though you lose financially, and we all know that money isn't everything, even though you lose financially, you lose out on that opportunity, does that mean that there won't be other opportunities? Because I can tell you, once I walked away from that project, I got 3 more the next day. So don't think that because one door closes, and don't be afraid to close that door yourself. Because one door closes, more opportunities aren't out there. It's a patience game. Shout out to Gary Vee. It's a patience game. And I'm learning that in my business. So you have to know what works for you, and you have to know what you can handle. Do you have the time? Do you have the patience? To be honest, do you have the time? Do you have the patience? And do you have the wherewithal to really say, okay, I'm gonna go with this regardless of whatever the outcome? Or, you know, do you dive off, and whatever the outcome, it doesn't matter? For me, I've had that. I've walked into the uncertainty. I keep walking into uncertainty, and yeah, some things work, some things don't work, but at the end of the day, you keep moving, you keep growing, you keep moving up. So don't be afraid to say no if you're not comfortable with most things, because it's okay to be uncomfortable with maybe one or two things, because personality and creativity clashes. We can't once you're working on a team, you're gonna probably have those kinds of clashes, but it's important to see beyond that and just see the value of the bigger picture of the project and work towards that. So it's a balancing act. One size doesn't fit all. So at the end of the day, you have to know yourself. Know yourself and know what you want, and be open to learning new things. I will be starting a podcast, so listen out for that information and the platforms where you can access it. And I'm going to document the journey towards this podcast. So I'm telling you from now, I'm going to be starting a podcast, and I'm going to be documenting the journey to the podcast. And while the podcast is happening, the birth and development of the podcast, we're just going to be documenting the journey. So stay tuned for that. My name is Allison Harrison. Remember to like and subscribe, and stay tuned to this channel for more content. And until next time, blessings and peace always.